going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today it is going to be the best strikerless tactic you will personally see at FM24 so far. It's taken ages to make. It's actually been delayed by a couple of days as well, but it's finally here. So if you do enjoy the tactics, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you enjoy rebuilds, you can check out my rebuild channel above here, where we post once every 2 to 3 days, and who knows, your team might even get a featured rebuild. But let's go through and break down the results today. We have got 3 very special teams to select from. Let's get into it. So we did have to test with Man City purely because they were the inspiration of the video. We are also going to go and have a fantastic season with them, winning 34 wins, 1 draw, and just 3 losses there, coming in against Villa, Arsenal, and West Ham. And by the way, Aston Villa really did turn up this season with a 2nd place finish. But overall, Doku and Foden are going to be the goal outlets of the season. Doku, Phil Foden, and Jack Grealish also are going to come in and pick up the best average ratings, with assists being of 20, 15, and 13. So a lot of players getting involved there with the assists and the goals, and of course naturally therefore getting good average ratings, with Edison also picking up 22 clean sheets. We go out and get the most goals in the league at 114, the most shots, the fewest shots against, the fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. And possession wise, not too bad either, with 57% of the ball and a pass completion of 88%, which is fairly decent for a system like this. Now of course, you play in 7 competitions as Man City. We win all 7. The Club World Championship is not on this screen, but we are going to go ahead and win that. We win the Champions League against Real Madrid. The Super Cup, we go and win 2-0 against Sevilla. The FA Cup, we are also going to win 5-2 over Arsenal. The Carabao Cup, 4-0 against Arsenal. And the Community Shield against Arsenal. Arsenal getting beaten everywhere they go, as we win on penalties on that occasion as well. And I believe it's bang on 3. It is bang on 3 goals per game in this season. 0.42 conceded, over 16.5 shots a match, a great pass completion, and a very good tackle win ratio. It's a very good start to the video. Let's actually go and watch some highlights now and really understand where these goals come from. So into the FA Cup semi-finals against Newcastle, we actually won this game 5-0, and just to showcase, you don't always need strikers to go and get goals. None of these goals are obviously scored by a flat-out striker. Grealish and Doku really did set light to this final and took over the entire game, because all of the goals come in the first half as well, which is quite fun. Doku's already scored 2 inside of 35 minutes. Bernardo Silva backstick, I believe, into Diaz it was in the 39th minute, and to wrap up this final, or semi-final, in the first half really, Phil Foden. We're then going to go over to Real Madrid purely to use Jude Bellingham in a shadow striker role really, and as you can see, again a really strong season. 36 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. We've got Rodrigo with 36 goals, Bellingham with 33, Brahim Diaz enjoying a great season as well with 17 assists. Vinicius Jr. just behind with 16, 3 players in the average rating, and again, Courtois making sure we maintain that clean sheet spot. Again, most goals outscoring Barcelona, Madrid, Celta Vigo, etc, etc. Fewest conceded, most clean sheets. Possession-wise, 3rd place, pretty tidy with 59% of the ball, fewest shots against, and the most shots for. And of course, we're not just going to win that and walk home. We're also going to be runners-up in the Champions League against ourselves. The Spanish Cup, we are going to win 4-0 against Barcelona, and the Spanish Super Cup, we are going to also win 4-0 against Barcelona. Just to clarify, no, that is not copy and paste. That is 2 different competitions, both winning 4-0 against one of the best teams over in Spain. Now, the data hub is going to look like this: 3.82 goals per game, so 0.82 more, which, to be honest, doesn't surprise me, because they've probably got a lot. I mean, Bellingham, Vinicius, Rodrigo, yeah, you could expect a lot of goals even without a striker. 0.58 conceded, 17.79 shots per game, a great pass completion, and a pretty high tackle win ratio as well. It's not a bad start. Then to test with a bit of a weaker team in the sort of top 4 race, that is going to be RB Leipzig over in Germany. Again, I wanted to use Xavi Simons to see how good he actually done, and he done pretty well, that's safe to say. Only losing 1 game again over in Germany against Heidenheim in a 2-0 away defeat. We've got a player with 37 goals, Xavi Simons with 28. We've got a Pender picking up the most assists, so I did believe actually ended up playing on a wing, which was quite interesting to see. Henrich and Schlager make up joint 2nd. We've got 2 players in the average rating, and again, the most clean sheets this time, Peter Galashi. Most goals at 113, bang on 500 shots, which is really good. Fewest conceded at 20, most clean sheets at 21. Possession, pretty decent again. I would say the average is between 57 and 59% for possession, for anybody wondering. And of course, we also did play in the Pokal, which we are going to win against SV Werder, or Werder, in a 4-0 win. And the Super Cup, we are going to be runners-up, unfortunately buying a little bit too strong on the day. Now, the data hub is going to go over and see a little bit like this: 3.32 goals per game, 0.59 conceded, 14.7 shots a match, a great pass completion, and a very good tackle win ratio. The pass completion of 89% is actually very good because we're not dedicated purely on playing short passing in this tactic. We did beat some big teams to get to that Pokal final. The first one is going to be Dortmund, a great ball back steer there into an injured Elmas who is going to tuck it away. We're then going to link it up again with Elmas, who goes alone, and it was one incredible strike. We've got a player there to pick up the rebound, and it is going to be a last goal here to wrap it up 3-0. The high press, Xavi Simons, Cabell, what you doing? But now, of course, over to your favourite part of the video. That is going to be the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying yourselves back home, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because we are close to 25k subs. And if you want access to all 3 of these tactics today, you want them early, you want my rebuild files, you want the rebuild tactics, you want access to monthly giveaways, one-on-one tactical help, and so much more, you can come over and join the Patreon in the link below, where you can be part of nearly 5,000 people that have gone over and signed up, because they're getting incredible perks and big giveaways. So come on over and get involved. But let's go through and build this amazing tactic. So we are going to start off with playing the gegenpress style. It was really the very few sets of the tactical styles that I thought would suit this down to an absolute T. This or tiki-taka, in my opinion, would be your go-to. We are naturally going to load in any formation, and let's start crafting this very unique and very different FM tactic. To give you a rough idea what the tactic looks like, it's not going to be anything like this, but this is the overall shape. So it is actually really balanced, and it is why it's also very good at doing the defensive side of the game, because it's not too crazy. It's quite composed in the midfield, always got good options as well. The goalkeeper is going to be a sweeper keeper, by the way, who is simply going to be set to support. Again, I very rarely add instructions on goalkeepers unless that's really needed, and in this tactic, to be honest, it wasn't really needed. The wing back on the right is going to be set to support, and we are going to have him on set to run wide and also tackle harder. That is going to be the same for the left back as well, so I'm not going to waste your time today. We're instantly going to go ahead and do that as well. So again, run wide and tackle harder for both of the wing backs left and right. Now in the middle, I have gone with 2 default ball playing defenders. Again, I did try and get a libero involved into the mix, but to be honest, it was a little bit overkill and didn't really work too well, and we were leaking goals, to be honest with you. So we've gone with 2 ball playing defenders and kept it nice and simple. We have then gone with my favourite partnership in midfield, a deep lying playmaker who is going to be set to support, and he is going to have some instructions, or one instruction that is simply going to be set to tackle harder, with next to him being a box to box. Now this is by far, in my opinion, the best combo for a, you know, quite a pushed up to midfield. You've got the box to box, which does a little bit of everything, and a deep line playmaker. I always love to get involved in a tactic, hence why you're going to see him in quite a fair few that I make. Now going up the pitch a little bit, these are probably the most important parts of the team because they do rely on getting a lot of the goals as well. The inside forwards are both going to be set to attack, and they are simply going to be on roam from position. Now this is very dependent on the team you're playing as, and the reason why I've not naturally got shoot more often on in a default tactic is because I know a lot of you guys just download these tactics, you don't really make any tweaks, which is a bad idea, by the way, because you need to make sure it's molded for your team. But if your wingers, your inside forwards have got good finishing, have shoot more often on, because you can elevate this tactic from here all the way to up here. So if you're playing as a Madrid, I had shoot more often on, for example. You've got Vinicius, you've got Rodrigo. You're nuts if you do not have shoot more often on. Let the shots fly at goal and it will work really well. And you can probably guess what these 2 players are going to be. They are going to be 2 shadow strikers, and this is going to be, again, a real big part of where your goals are coming from. No additional instructions required for these because they naturally already have 4 on them, and this tactic actually surprised me in many ways. It was good on the ball, had decent levels of possession, we scored a fair few goals. Defensively, it's going to be very sound as well, and it just goes to show you don't always need a striker inside of this game. But let's go through the team instructions, and hopefully we can always, you know, back up the explanation a little bit more in that regard there. So again, all based off the gegenpress on the positive mentality. That is right, the gegenpress positive, just to clarify that. We are going to go down 2 fairly narrow. We're going to pass into the space, overlap left and overlap right, really get those wing backs involved, but obviously both of the inside forwards come inside, the shallow strikers go forward, meaning the wing backs can overlap as well. We're going to play out from the back. We have got 2 ball playing defenders. We may as well use them. The tempo is going to be set to slightly higher with a shorter passing directness, and we're also going to go with mixed crosses with work ball into the box. Now I will say, if you're struggling to score goals, you could remove work ball into the box off. I liked it on this tactic because we had so many players up there roaming about. The play was really fun to watch, and having work ball into the box usually resulted in very high quality chances. But if you can't score goals with your team, that would be one thing to consider. In transition, we are going to counter press, we're going to counter, we're going to roll the ball out, and we're going to roll to the fullbacks and the centre-backs because they're all going to be pretty much on the goal line. Not too many risks being played if we go like that, so why not go for it? And lastly, out of possession, we are going to go with get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and we're going to max out that trigger press to much more often. And of course, we are going to deploy a higher defensive line with the high press line of engagement. Now to the attacking tactic, the perfect tactic if you can't score with the default one and you simply want to have a one-click change and change the entire way this will play. Again, you can get this over on the Patreon and a defensive tactic in one simple download. It saves you a lot of time, shows some love back as well. I really do appreciate it. But let's go through and talk about this tactic then. So the goalkeeper and both of the ball-playing defenders do remain the same. As you can probably tell, the wing-backs don't. They are both now going to be on attack, on take more risks, cross more often, dribble more, run wide, stay wider, and also tackle harder. Exactly the same for the left and the right back. To clarify that, we are then going to go with two box-to-boxers who are going to be mirrored, exactly the same, both on support, both on tackle harder, and obviously naturally both going to be roaming. The inside forwards are now going to have that shoot more often on because we are really trying to score goals, and I would even have this on if my players finishing wasn't incredible. I want to try and get shots off at goal. I'm trying to, get back into a game, trying to take the game 1-0, 2-0, something like that. You need a goal, you need to be taking shots. And lastly, both of their shadow strikers are also now going to be on shoot more often as well. We are not going to be afraid to let rip at the goal. Again, the gegenpress, this time attacking, the gegenpress on attacking. We are going to go down to fairly narrow. This is all going to be the same, so pass into the space, overlap left, overlap right, while playing out from the back. Because we are trying to take the game to them, we are going to max out the tempo, we're going to run at defence, we're going to be more expressive, and I'm actually going to untick work ball into the box. I discussed it previously before, and again, we are going to back up that in full theory. In transition, we are going to go over, and as you can imagine, it is going to be somewhat similar. So let's go over and have counter press, roll the ball out, play to the centre-backs and the full-backs, and this time, because we are taking the game to them, we are going to distribute quickly. And lastly, out of possession, it is going to be the high pressing line of engagement. I didn't dare brave the much higher line because we're already quite far pushed up, so we are going to stay with a higher defensive line. We're going to get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and max out that trigger press to much more often. Now to defend those games out, and it is a very, very different tactic, so hopefully you're still watching because you do need all three tactics. I will make this very clear. The results you see in these videos, I use all my set pieces, all my training, I use all three variants, I play some games, I sim some games. Those are the key principles when I test these tactics. The way I like to test tactics is, what would I do if I was actually playing 100% of the season? I'd have set pieces loaded, I'd have training loaded, I'd have good staff in place, I'd use different tactic variants. That is how they're tested. So make sure you are getting all three when you are downloading these tactics or copying those tactics. We are going to go through the sweeper keeper, who is going to be the same. The wing back on the right and on the left are both simply going to be set to tackle harder. Both of the ball playing defenders are going to simply be on the default. A DM comes in this time a little bit different to what we've seen on support, on take fewer risks, shoot less often, and also tackle harder. A winger on the left is going to be set to support, simply on roam from position. The volante on the right, take fewer risks, shoot less often, and also tackle harder. And the winger on the right is going to be exactly the same as on the left, simply on roam from position. And what happens is, we sometimes form almost a back eight in defence. When we attack, we've got the wingers who are going to naturally go up. The volante even goes up to some degree, so we still can score goals, but defensively, we're an absolute nightmare. And lastly, an attacker midfield player on support, on roam and move into the channels, and a shadow striker remains simply on attack. So again, the gegenpress on positive, that is the gegenpress on positive. We are going to go down to fairly narrow once again. We're going to pass into the space. We're not going to worry too much about the overlap and runs on this occasion. We're going to go back to working the ball into the box. This is where it changes quite a fair bit. We're going to dribble less. We're going to time waste frequently because we are trying to run the clock down. The tempo remains in the middle and the passing directness goes down to much shorter, which means the tempo will be changed to slightly lower. If you've got my set pieces, also play for them. I'm not going to select it for those of you that don't, but if you have got them, make sure that's on as well, because they will definitely get your goals. In transition, we are going to go to counter press. We're going to hold the shape when possession has been won, be that team who just passes it side to side, run the clock down, waste time, hence why we're also going to slow the pace down if the goalkeeper has the ball. And again, this remains exactly the same throughout all three of the tactic variants. Roll the ball out to the entire back line. And lastly, it's going to be the standard line with the high high pressing line of engagement, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and we are going to keep the trigger press. I still want a little bit of fight in the team, so that is going to remain exactly the same. But that is going to be it for today, guys. It's going to be 3 variants of the best strikerless tactic. You've got a default tactic, an attacking tactic, and a defensive tactic. Everything you could possibly need. Make sure you are using all 3 in your tactics, or your testing tactics, and your saves, because again, I do rotate from default to attack to defend, dependent on the game situation. If you're holiday in tactics, again, make sure you're coming out of holiday, going into different games with different sort of variants, because if you're playing as Luton, you don't go in against Man City on the balanced, go in cautious. If you're playing as Man City, you wouldn't go in against Luton on the balanced, go in as attacking, you can take the risk. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.